Welcome to Wine Club. This is the playlist where I drink good wine while I whine about bad books. And today's offender is unfortunately The Vacancy by Elizabeth Carpenter. So warning, there are going to be spoilers in this review. And as I say in all my reviews, this is solely about the book and not about the author as a person. I'm sure she is lovely. So I did get this from the book outlet when I went on a little shopping spree because it had a really intriguing premise. Let's see why I was interested in this. Running from her past, Rachel answers an advert to be a live-in assistant to glamorous and eccentric author Dorothy Winters. When Dorothy's manuscript throws up striking similarities to events in Rachel's own life, she becomes convinced that the past she's tried to hide is catching up with her. Then the phone calls start. The parcel arrives, and Dorothy's friend disappears. Terrified of being blamed for murder, Rachel has nobody left to turn to. Because who can she believe when she doesn't even trust herself? Dun dun dun! So I'm going to say, I feel that the back cover copy is a straight up lie. Striking similarities to events in Rachel's own life? Yeah, if you mean events that she didn't even know about, as the manuscript is pretty much about her deceased husband's mother. Rachel wasn't there for the events in the manuscript. They're not similar, as she doesn't know this story. What the fuck, book blurb? Why do you lie to me like this? I told you there'd be spoilers in this review. So yeah, the manuscript that this kooky author Dorothy Winters is writing up is the story of Rachel's husband's mother, who is Dorothy Winters under a fake name. Catherine is her real name. Catherine is posing as Dorothy, which does Google not exist in this book's universe? Not one person looked up Dorothy Winters and saw that she died 10 years ago and doesn't even look like this person who's saying she is who she is. Also, where does Catherine get all the money to pull all this off? So yeah, sorry. That's it. That's the big twist. Her husband's biological mom, because she gave him, basically, he was taken from her because she was such a terrible mother. She hired Rachel just to torment her as Rachel is walking free after killing her husband Matthew, so Catherine's son. And Rachel got off due to it being self-defense, as the nicest way to say it is he was a controlling and harmful douchebag. Catherine went to all this trouble to hunt down Rachel, which that isn't even Rachel's real first name, found her, hired her, and is setting up all these little things to freak her out, like blood all over the bathroom and Matthew's name scratched into a cabinet. Which, as a motivation, it's fine. It makes sense that you want to torment someone. But it doesn't work in this particular story, because Catherine is a textbook narcissist. Before Matthew was taken from her, she would leave him in his crib to go to the bar. It sounds like she was barely feeding him, had no attachment to her child. I think she even tried to walk out of the hospital without him right after he was born. She truly only cares about herself and will use other characters for her own gain. She is so much better than everyone and knows it and is constantly telling us this. So, where the hell does this sudden maternal instinct come from? I don't buy it one bit. It makes no sense. I could understand that if she just made some mistakes after he was born, and, she really did love him and just was battling her own demons. But no, she doesn't care about him. She does not care about anyone but herself. The entire plot falls apart because of Catherine's characterization. You cannot have her be this ruthless manipulator who suddenly wants to play mommy dearest after her son dies. I mean, you could see this plot twist coming from page 1, that it had to either be that Dorothy was Rachel's mom or Matthew's, and that the story of Catherine that Rachel is reading about as she reviews this manuscript that Dorothy is writing is really Dorothy's story. I mean, there's only a few ways this can go, but again, it just does not make sense. It really doesn't make sense. So really, I was just reading, waiting for Rachel to connect the dots. Now, I do get a bigger worldview than Rachel does, so I did get to see how certain things would play out. But again, it just makes me think about the back cover copy that says the book that Dorothy is writing mirrors Rachel's own life. It does not. It doesn't. It's also hard to cut Rachel slack, as her stakes aren't super dire to force her to stay. So I'm just going to call Catherine Dorothy, because that's how we know her for most of the story. Dorothy and everyone around her are just odd and act like aliens pretending to be human. And Rachel seems to despise working for Dorothy. Like, she's an assistant and kind of a live-in helper. And anytime the doorbell rings and Dorothy's like, oh, can you get that? She's like, oh, can't you get it? Like, Rachel, honey, this is what you were hired to do. And if you hate it so much, why are you here? She says that she can't go home, but it's also not like she escaped from jail or just recently murdered Matthew and his body hasn't been found yet. She is legally free. She could find another job. There's not much reason that she has to stay here. As the story progresses and things just get weirder and weirder, she's not trapped, but she chooses to stay and freaks out at the things that are happening. Baby girl, just leave the premises. Truly, everyone acts so freaking weird in this. It's like they know they're in a book and they have to act as like odd as possible so the reader doesn't know what's going on. But it doesn't work because it's so over the top. Everyone is up in Rachel's business, which again begs the question of how the neighbors didn't realize sooner that Dorothy isn't who she says she is. So I already said that Catherine's a narcissist and she acted like a full-on psycho with Matthew's biological father, but she's even worse with her second partner in the book, Andrew. So she targets him while they're in, I think it's like a rehab program, as she thinks she'll live this nice cush life by nabbing him, as he had a pretty good job. But after they leave the program, he's not as ambitious. He doesn't want to go back to that lifestyle that put him in the rehab program in the first place. She proceeds to treat him like garbage, and then is absolutely furious when he leaves her, as she was supposed to be the one who does the leaving, thank you very much. But I also can't take Andrew seriously, as he comes back into her life and helps her become Dorothy and live out this revenge fantasy of hers. He finally does break when Catherine or Dorothy locks Rachel in the basement and realizes that Dorothy has taken things way too far. I think that ship has sailed, my dude. Like, what the fuck are you doing here with her? You already know that she's a freak, and it seems like you had escaped and found a nice little family and just... why? Some other things that make this book not so great is it is very, very slow and focused on the day-to-day activities of Rachel. Waking up, working, snooping, wondering why Dorothy's a kook, drinking, being hungry, and then going to bed. Occasionally, a neighbor will stick their nose in it, or Dorothy will be hosting a crazy party, but it's just so slow. At the end of the day, I had to give this 2.5 stars. I do think Carpenter is a good writer, and I was able to finish this. I just didn't love it. I didn't feel any suspense. I didn't care about the mystery, as I'd kind of already figured it out and understood what was going on here. Again, the back cover copy kind of lies, and everyone in this book just kind of sucks. Like, I do get what Carpenter was going for with this, but it just didn't get there. But if you do have any recs for like creepy stories about writers or people working odd jobs and things just keep escalating, please leave your recommendations in the comments below, as I would love to check those out. Otherwise, thanks for joining me at Wine Club.